Voltron Network.
So, shall we begin?
You are now tuned into Talking at the Movies with your hosts, Eddie, Salim, and Mo.
What's good, guys? Welcome back to Talking at the Movies. I'm Eddie Antonio.
And I am Mo, and I'm going to have to apologize to everybody. I may well be very low energy today. I didn't tell you this before already, but Mr. Gizmo, my cat. So basically, hold on, anyone. If you see a cat freaking out or hear a cat freaking out today, no one's harming a cat. No one is murdering a cat. He's freaking out because we've had new windows put in, and he literally, I think there must be a smell that I can't smell. From them.
You can smell the workmen, innit? They're fucking
well, yeah, but they've come and gone, right? At 4 o'clock this morning, he just got up from sleeping, and he just started meowing off the top of his head. He's been doing it all evening last night. He's been doing it today. He'll go on his wardrobe. He'll sit there for a while, and then he'll come back down.
Dude, you don't matter. Just animals, their sense of smell lingers for hours. It's like a stain.
Oh, yeah.
We can't smell it, but
no. But people normally come in and go. It's the windows. It's because they use all this chemical glue and all that kind of stuff as well, which I could smell yesterday. I can't smell now. But every time he goes near the window, because that window over there is his favorite napping spot, because there's a shelf right above the radiator. Every time he goes on it, he smells it, and he just goes into a meow, meow.
Strange. What have you done?
Oh, I tell you what, 4 o'clock this morning, 2 hours. I was shattered. Finally managed to get back to sleep at 6.
I hate that, waking up. Talking about the movies, movie, TV, news, views, reviews, all of that crap. So this week we're going to be looking at what's on the agenda today. We're going to be looking at, obviously, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, this week's episode of that, or last week's. Invincible. What's the big movie we had to review?
Oh yeah, Nobody.
Nobody.
Saul Goodman.
Yep. He has a name, but we can't remember. Yeah, we're going to be reviewing
Bob Odenkirk.
Fine. And whatever else we've been watching this week, as well as whatever news we get to. So, what have you been watching, sir?
So, what have I been watching this week? Right, so one of these things that I've watched this week actually dovetails into one of our trailers. So should I say that? Oh, I'll do it now, actually. Let's do it now. Right, so trailer for Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard came out last week. And as I was watching the trailer, I thought, hey, hold on a minute. This film looks jokes. How come I've never heard of the original film? How can we run a movie podcast and I don't even remember talking about it or the trailer or anything? That's this has got
it was a very low level. It was a very low level release. Yeah. It was a surprise hit. That's why it's ended up with a sequel. But yeah, it wasn't a big flashy release.
It's got Reynolds, it's got Jackson, and it's got Hayek, right? Yeah. And I thought I absolutely want to watch this film. So Amazon had a real good deal on the 4K. I thought, you know what, snap that up, had it delivered, put that on Saturday night.
Hayek's not in the original.
Oh yeah, she's in. She is. She doesn't have a massive part, but she's in it. And what a good 2 hours this was. It's just fun, funny. I will say something about the action. It is like they were trying to do Jason Bourne style action, from the filming, quick cuts, with the shaky cam. Yeah. But it just did, the person doing it obviously didn't know what they were doing, right? There was obviously somebody like me trying to do it. The action part of it didn't look good, but the whole, how in the Winter Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they got this whole bickering thing going on between Bucky and the Falcon, and to me that it just doesn't work. In this,
yes, it does.
It's the highlight of the movie. You can actually feel that Reynolds and Jackson's characters actually hate each other.
See, you're just saying that because you're such a WandaVision loyalist that you just don't want to like Falcon and Winter Soldier. You want to hate it. Makes no sense. I did give this a go when it came out. What year was it that it originally dropped?
I think it's 2017.
I thought it was older. But yeah, I remember giving it a go and just not being in the headspace for it. I think I started got 10 minutes in. I thought, yeah, it's just boring. I'm not in the mood for this. But you're saying it's worth revisiting.
I actually really enjoyed it. It does seem to be one of those, when I looked at some reviews, some people like it, some people don't. Some people just say it's 20 minutes too long. I thought the beginning is really cool, right? Because you watch like this, he's like on a job and it all goes horribly wrong.
I don't trust you. I gave Thunder Force a go and I got 20 minutes in and thought, fuck this. Life is too short to watch this sort of bullshit. It's like, no.
Damn, it works. I got you to watch
it. You said you like that. You thought, don't lie to me.
Playing the long game.
No, that's yes. I don't know, man. I don't know if I.
No. I mean, this is like fucking Thunder Force was really like a. At most, it was like a 1.7 on like the scale of whatever, right? This the Hitman's Bodyguard. The Hitman's Bodyguard is a good 3.5, right? It's like I said, the action part of it lets it down, but the interaction between the characters, Salma Hayek. I'm now going to go on a Salma Hayek watch of all her films because she's one of the most beautiful women on screen, but nobody. Sam Jackson may give her a run for her money, but nobody does potty mouth as good as Salma Hayek. That she makes swearing a Shakespearean art form in this film.
She looks stressful to be around sometimes, man, because she can be a bit real loud.
She sounds like she would punch you in the face and do all sorts of horrible and nasty things. And because it's her, I would still pay her to do it to me.
That gizmo behind you sniffing.
That is, he will freak out in a little bit. No, but it is a good, fun movie. Yeah. Next thing, The Flight Attendant. So last week I said to you I'd watch like an episode. Man, I've got 2 left. I won't say that this show is an amazing, you must watch, but what it is it's entertaining. And you know what it really reminds me of? Kelly Coker's character. She comes across as a female version of Marty Braid from what's that Netflix show? The Ozark, right? She's a woman who's on the edge of a nervous breakdown, yet she will do anything to like calculate and stay alive and whatever, regardless of the consequences. And it's exactly like Marty Braid from Ozark. She goes from one disaster to another. People around, it starts affecting people around her. Is the kind of issue, and they really sort of push home how she's just like an alcoholic party kind of girl, and how it all stems from stuff that happened to her as a child. But it's just so entertaining to watch.
Well, put it on the list.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. And I'm going to assume you were glued to your screen for the second episode of Kung Fu, or is that something I'll be watching on my own from now?
I did watch it.
Yep.
And it's still bad. It's still terrible. But it's kind of gone into this sort of, I think my brain's put it into this sort of background sort of thing that I can just leave on, and it's not so offensive if it's just kind of at the side of my vision there. So yeah, I saw it.
Okay,
I've only just realized now that I reckon the people creating this have so little experience of Kung Fu movies and then any of that motivation that the only reference they have is the biggest Kung Fu movie of the modern age, and that's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And what's the main MacGuffin in that?
Oh, the sword.
Yeah, the Jade sword.
Distant, yeah.
And that's exactly what they've just repeated in this. It's like they just ripped off the one film that they've seen that had martial arts in it. But yeah, I like the actress. That, you know, the main actress. She's likable. The family, some of them are right. The sister's a bit grating, but you know. But it is what it is.
So we might as well just talk about that now, because I'm literally the 2 things I've been watching this week. I've already said it's. I think you've hit it on the head. It's not a great show, but I am willing to stick with it just to see where it goes over the next couple of episodes. And you are kind of right. I'm crying out for a good Kung Fu show at this point, right? It's like it's so rife for the pickings.
Going back to Warrior, because I still haven't seen season 2. 3's about to drop.
So no.
So greenlit.
It's just been green. So this is a news item we had. So it is literally, it was on the edge, like it was on the verge of being cancelled, right? In the news story, it literally says the sets were almost destroyed. They need to be rebuilt.
because it was
that kind of stuff.
FX
It's not been a
or
huge, yeah, it's not
FX
been.
show. Now it's been moved to HBO Max.
No, it wasn't on HBO, and it's now moved to HBO
No,
Max.
definitely wasn't on HBO. I was pretty sure it weren't. Well, go on,
Are you
keep
sure?
going. I'll have
Yeah.
I'll check it.
It's the problem with Warrior is that it's got good fight scenes, but the story itself just isn't really engaging, which is part of the core for part of the course for is it Cinemax, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. So Cinemax, I think, is I don't know who owns Cinemax. I know.
I think it's under the umbrella of Warner.
Yeah. Okay, so it's moving to HBO Max. So it's good that they're giving it another chance. I guess they probably want to capitalize on perhaps the new Disney movie, the new Marvel movie, right? People might want to check this out after all of that. It's the story isn't good, and the thing is, you watch kung fu films and the stories are never that great, right? You tune into the action, but when it's a show that runs for like 10 episodes, you do need a good story to tune in for each week. You can't sit through an hour and only have like 10 minutes worth of fighting and 90 minutes of like so drama.
I like the whole triad underworld and him looking for what was it, his sister or someone? I can't remember.
Yeah, but Eddie, let me ask you a question seriously. Did you finish season 1?
Well, that's the thing. It was just so much. I got taken away watching so much other stuff, but
yeah,
I need that itch. I have that itch, so I enjoyed it. I didn't stop watching it because I didn't like it. It was just that.
People don't stop watching stuff they like.
I stopped watching a lot of stuff I like. A lot. Like it happened with The Sopranos, one of the greatest TV shows ever. And I stopped, but I did go back to it and finished it. So.
But yet you'll watch Warrior Nun all the way through because you didn't enjoy it as much as
I don't understand what's happening in my brain. Don't ask me that. I'm not a psychiatrist.
But you're just ashamed to say that you like stuff like Warrior Nun.
I think a part of me is the addict in me is chasing that old Buffy thing. That's why I finished that. Cause I'm looking for something to scratch that itch, but nothing ever has.
Right. I think that's probably enough about talking about Kung Fu.
Okay. A film that came out a couple of weeks ago that we saw a trailer for it. We weren't impressed, either of us. So I think we ignored it when the film came out, but I decided it's out. Why not? We're a movie podcast. People might be curious. So I checked out Chaos Walking. This is the Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley.
Oh, the one in the woods.
Where she's a scout on the planet, and crashes and finds out this planet that only has men on it. And you can hear their thoughts. It's just an effect of the planet. And they're all after her, and Tom Holland decides to, have her back. And it is not good. It's not great. It's not. I would not recommend.
The trailer told me that.
But the performances for what they have is decent. Mads Mikkelsen, always good, always menacing as a bad guy. But you can tell that there was more. It's based on a book, and I'm not sure whether there's more, and there must be. There always is nowadays. Who releases one book, one single story? It's all trilogies now. So I'm presuming it was going to be a lot more. And you can see that the stuff that they didn't get into is the interesting shit. Like the stuff about men having their thoughts, projected, is probably the least interesting thing of the whole film. That's the only thing they really concentrated on, and everyone chasing down Ridley. And not for the reason you'd think. They don't get into the creepy reason, which unfortunately would be the more realistic reason, if I'm honest. Men are pieces of shit. We're a lowly creature.
Well, that's what that's what the trailer makes it out. This film is about, right?
But no, because she comes from a mothership. I'm gonna spoil it. Who cares? It's a shit film. So there are settlers on that ship. So they're basically coming down to check whether the original settlement that came here is still alive and whether everyone can come down. So Mads Mikkelsen wants to use her to lure that ship down so they can attack it, take over, and rule over all these people because he has the power. He doesn't want to lose it with all these people coming down. So they just want to use her as a tool.
Right.
But there's aliens on this planet which they don't get into. You see one glimpse of humanoid aliens they have one interaction with, and then they were told that they attack them and that they're dangerous. And we get one instance, and then that's it. Like, I want to know about these bloody aliens. What's going on there? This other life form. The fact that the ship that she come down from has been in space for 60 years, traveling to this place. So everyone on that ship was literally born on that ship. They've never seen anything else apart from what's on that ship because, you know, their grandparents were the ones that set off on the voyage. So that's an interesting thing. That's like Battlestar Galactica type situation there. Like there's all this other shit. All the women, why were they killed? They do explain it, but I would have rather seen them, all that happening. Like, yeah, it's just I see why they had a problem with this and why it was delayed. I don't know, like a year or two.
It sounds like you're about to go into negative numbers for like scoring.
Yeah, I wanted to try and do a thing when we review to try and find a good thing and a bad thing. You know, because we always get real negative. But it's kind of hard to find a good thing to recommend about this because, you know, Holland's always good, I guess. He can be a little irritating, but that's more the gimmick of the whole hearing your thoughts. You know, it's not necessarily him himself, because who out of any of us could truly control what's going on in our heads? The subconscious voice. If it was projected loud. Could you imagine?
Have you ever done that thing where you try not to think about something, and the minute you try not to think about it, you think about it more?
And the inappropriate things that just flash into your head.
Yeah.
So 2 stars from me. Chaos Walking.
Oh.
Nah, and they're not going to continue.
Did you watch it? Did you watch it all the way through?
All the way. Start with it.
Right.
That's how bad Thunder Force was. 20 minutes, and I never quit films really. So that was rare. Another movie which didn't quite live up to my expectations, but I can say good things and bad things about this, and that's I got to see Mortal Kombat. I've given up on the hopes of seeing a good, faithful reenactment or, you know, adaptation of the game. Just stick with the game, especially the last game. It's like a movie anyway, so.
Are you referring to the story here? Is the fighting and the special moves, is that like worth a watch?
Fighting is good. I will give it to that. Was going to be in my the good thing to recommend about this. The fighting, they did a good job with that. It's R-rated, so there are fatalities. They're not really put out there as being this thing that it builds up to. And none of the fights really, besides Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Hold on.
Oh, he's accepting it.
Yeah, he's probably about to he'll freak out in a minute. So if you hear him just going, meow.
He's just feeling like, be brave, be brave. But yeah, besides that last one, they're all pretty short and sweet. So you don't really get into the meat of it. But yeah, there are some, it's well shot. They don't do the usual Hollywood thing where they show everything really tight and shake it all around. They actually give you space, which is, thank fucking God. Why is that such a hard lesson to learn from Hong Kong films? And yes, they are fatalities. People get sliced in half.
Oh, nice.
Hearts get ripped out of chests. Decapitation. Yeah.
It is difficult to think, right? That essentially Mortal Kombat is what is it? Is it Enter the Dragon, right? Is essentially a
tournament? Yeah.
Yeah, tournament, and where that movie is held in such like high regard that they find it like they've had multiple attempts. And they're finding it difficult to recapture. Like, obviously, one had Bruce Lee and his charisma, granted.
That is true. But the problem is, what the first one actually did good, this one didn't, is that we didn't actually get to the tournament. That never got to happen. All that happened was that people were selected, and then apparently they developed their special powers once they've been accepted into the tournament. Once they have this mark appears, and as they get closer to the tournament, everyone develops an ability, which is a weird way to explain it. But
is that the film thing, or is that an actual Mortal Kombat thing?
That's not a film thing.
So they've strayed away from the subject matter.
There's that, and it's basically what's the guy, Shang Tsung? He basically is hunting everybody down before the tournament because the bad guys are out. They've won the tournament 9 times, and if they win the 10th, it's all theirs. Earth is theirs. Right. So he wants to make sure that Earth's champions can't win. So he wants to kill them off beforehand. So that's all. That's the story. So and then they don't do that. They survive, and then it ends. It's like, I want to see the bloody tournament. That's the cool shit.
Hold on. So I didn't kind of get. So there's no actual tournament in this.
No, they're building up to it. They've got all these characters that have been selected. You know, Storm's Raiden. He's going around, you know, gathering everyone together, but it never gets to go there. And some of the effects are really ropey. Like Raiden's eyes, they look like a Snapchat filter. You know, like there's something that's overlaid on the screen. It doesn't look like
Okay.
quality effects. It just looks like real bad glow job. But there are fun moments. There's some cool action, but
Yeah.
a letdown. It just doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't get where you want it to go, and I'm disappointed. So I want this to be good.
So what would you give this then?
I give it for 3 for the fact that they do a decent job with certain action things. You know, it feels the characters feel like them to a degree.
Right.
But yeah, let down.
Don't rush out to see that at the cinema then, folks.
Yeah, just watch it at home as you have the option to do. But yeah, disappointment. But oh well.
Anything else?
No, that's that.
Right. Should we go into the Nevers? Yeah.
What did you think this week?
Yeah, enjoyed it. It's picked up a little bit more. There is more to the story. I actually, if they mentioned it last week, I didn't get the fact that the that rich guy who is related to the chick in the wheelchair actually had was touched as well.
Yeah. Did you see the
I
song when she was singing?
I must have completely just forgot it or whatever. Oh, hold on. Did he realize he wasn't touched up until that point?
That was when that was when it was revealed that he was touched. And then it did that flashback with the ship, and you saw the little glowing bits.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Him.
But yeah, I mean, they are putting together a more complex story than your average show here, right? There's all sorts of twists and turns. The fact that they found like the ship underground, the fact that the benefactor who looks like she's a good lady in the wheelchair, is actually a puppet master pulling some strings.
And she said, "This is war." So is she truly against it? Is she like the old man, where you know she doesn't actually like the touched, as they put them?
Yeah.
And that she just wants to even the playing ground. Or is it the case she's in a wheelchair and she just wants that whatever there is to be used on her so she can walk again? Like, is it one of those things?
Oh yeah, possibly. Yeah, that's a very good point. I do like the way they're doing all the politics stuff, right? Because I think they've got it absolutely on point. The whole the divide in the classes, the fact that you know, like how her grandson or whoever he is, the grandson, probably son, has that sort of like that moment with the redhead lady, and she tells him like, oh, she's touched and she's beneath you and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's the brother. Because watching the behind the scenes thing.
Oh, is that a brother? Oh, right. Yeah.
Siblings. But yeah, I thought it was a son as well. Like, that's a weird age gap there. But
yeah. I like the way that he like flies after her and then is jolted out of that.
Yeah. He actually has a convenient power, because it's one that even when he's in the middle of it, it doesn't look like he's doing anything. He just looks like he's daydreaming. So no one's ever going to suspect anything. So he ain't really got much to worry about, has he?
Yeah, I thought the other the prostitute lady had a great power, right? The way that she just stands next to you, and you just start absolutely babbling. The way that they got the police officer. What, you think I'm just going to tell you everything? You're going to think I'm going to tell you that last summer we were supposed to get married and she stood me up? You think I'm just going to tell you?
Left there, standing, holding the rose. Like, jeez, I'd hate to have a person like that around. You just, oh man, yeah, that'd be horrible. But yeah, and also with like the mad woman, the Melody.
Oh yeah, the killer.
Yeah. Apparently they're friends, her and the main chick.
Yeah,
and
well, you get that right.
Recognize? She didn't recognize the 2 times she was fighting her.
That was a bit I didn't understand. It was like, did she not recognize her, or did she recognize her? And I didn't see that.
No, she actually didn't know until she was saying that
right at the end.
Yeah, so maybe they were really young, but even then, you know, you meet people that you knew when you were like 10, you still recognize them most of the time. Listen, sometimes crazy fat. This happens.
Yeah, but really enjoyable so far. I see this one. I see this one was written by Jane Epstein, so it wasn't so it was directed by Whedon, but written by somebody else.
Yeah, but you know that he laid out the story, so it's just really the dialogue and stuff like that that they do. But yeah, still enjoying it. See how this I'm enjoying this show, man. I will look forward to it week after week. So thumbs up.
Invincible.
Oh yes. Remind me what happened this week.
I was going to say to you, remind me what happened. It's
Okay, the
let me
mum,
see. Right,
the wife, the mum has confronted, what's his name?
the tailor,
Omni Man.
Omni Man. Right, she gets like a load of stuff from the tailor,
Yeah,
like to get
he
all of her
analyzed
evidence.
it,
Yeah,
and now
yeah.
she's confronted, which is a dumb thing to do. Why would you? At least do something. At least, actually, to be honest, what could
Yeah.
she do? Like, where could she go that would be safe? Like, he's literally Superman. There's nothing that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, you have the whole plot or subplot where they go off to college, and there's the guy experimenting on college kids.
Yes, making that reminded me of that reminded me of, to bring up Buffy again. Remember with the best friend who was turned into this
Oh
like
yeah.
android, and it was beneath the college
Oh yeah,
or
that was the whole
university.
college thing, wasn't it? There was like
Yeah,
one of the professors.
it's exactly the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
storyline.
All done in one episode,
Yeah,
as opposed to stretched over a boring fourth season.
Jesus. Yeah, yeah, that was fun. And his friend, losing the love of his life.
His laugh, but he also loses like he's a lady friend, right? Because it kind of looks like he's left her in the lurch.
Yes, when he ran
And
off.
that is a tough thing, right? And I think he's already had that chat with with his dad, where he says like, don't tell anyone unless you like really trust them or anticipate being with them.
Yeah. Well, it's true. He shouldn't really be telling anyone. So
Yeah.
it's not realistic. You just can't deal with relationships. I always thought that with
No.
Superman, that every time something went down when he was with Lois and he had to run off and become Superman, the obvious solution for her would be like, oh, I'm with a coward. Clark's a coward. He ran off, left me. Fuck you. Yeah.
But his friend does actually find out, right? So he can kind of tell that you
Like
can
that.
actually
He doesn't walk in on him, changing. He doesn't. No one tells him. He just looks at him directly in the face and was like, "Mark." Boom, straight away. Like a more realistic way of doing it. I like that.
When I was watching that, I was thinking, yeah, you know what? Maybe like if you are somebody's friend, but you see them on TV being like the superhero, maybe your brain just thinks, oh, it might look a little bit like, but that's not Mark. No way.
Yeah, why would you think that? Yeah, but when you're face to face, boom, no way.
Yeah. Do you see? Do you think the robot dude has like something bad in store for like Monster Girl?
Oh, I think
He's spending all that time.
I think he's obsessed. I think what he's growing in that lab that he's getting the two blue guys to grow, I think it's a body for himself.
Right.
So that he can actually
become
profess his love to her.
For a child? Ugh.
But she's not though. Technically. It's like so that's awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, you would kind of think like if she had that power, like they wouldn't include her, right? Because essentially every time she uses her power, she's gonna at some point kill herself, right? Because she'll become so young, she's a baby.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing. Just like, stop using it. If it makes you younger and you're already looking like you're 6 years old at this point, just stop.
Yeah. I guess in a way it is a good power, right? Because you could reach a certain age and then start using your power a lot to like de-age. And then you can just keep living through like your 20s and your 30s, like over and over again.
Oh, it depends how long she has to actually. But she's gone past that and gone to the hellish age range where
of being a child again.
No one wants to relive that age from being 6 and upwards again, do you?
Well, I don't know, man. It's like those were easy times, right?
Yeah, when you had your parents, but I'm guessing her parents are probably.
Oh yes, yeah, okay, right.
She's gonna have to fend for herself.
Good point.
Yeah. So. So what's next, Mr.
Right.
Nobody?
Mr. Nobody. Well, I think it's just called Nobody, isn't it?
Yeah, Miss
Bob Odenkirk.
Yes, comedian extraordinaire. Got in crazy shape for this, and it paid off.
Yeah, I put in lots of training as well.
Yes, directed by what's the name?
Directed by Ilya Neshula. Neshula. I have no idea how you pronounce that.
I like it. It's like a John Wick universe film, like a character that could exist within that universe. It's a shame they can't come together in some joint film because they would be good. They would be good together. Go on.
No, I was gonna say I loved it from the off. I loved like the opening where like some films would take forever to make the point. Where I love that whole montage they just do every single day is the same thing for this guy.
That's what I actually really enjoyed about this is that I was really relishing it when it was showing that he was basically a loser, or his family view him as a loser. And I love that because then it shows you that he's gonna show them that he's a badass.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love that. Come on, you're gonna appreciate your dad after this. You're gonna appreciate your dad. But if he knew that that gun was empty when those house invaders came in, what is the logic of him not hitting them with the bat? At least hitting around the leg or the arm or something.
Well, I think wasn't he afraid that like once he unleashed that he would enjoy it too much? And
He doesn't really say that, though, does he?
no, but I
Too
think that's just the impression that I get, because like he was waiting for somebody to like make the wrong decision, wasn't he? Like when he's on the bus, and like he relished those guys getting on.
But yeah, everything escalated just because he was too much of a pussy to hit the gun out
But
of
yeah,
hand.
but it was only that his daughter's Hello Kitty bracelet or whatever it was that sent him over the edge.
Yeah, which turned out to be under the bloody couch. So that set
was
off a
funny.
whole
That was so
domino
funny.
effect. That's brought in what the fucking. It's always the Russians, just like John Wick. It has a very similar structure to the John Wick films in that regards. There's always the Russians, always someone that he destroys, or kills, or beats up. That's either the son or a brother in this case to the big.
And they always it's always that one psycho Russian where like you can see like the way he crosses the road, right? He doesn't even look to see if a car is coming. He just like walks
don't even
across.
think you need to add psycho to it. That's just Russian people. They're mad. They're mad like that.
And you kind of think, as you're watching the film, you kind of think, surely at some point, like that dude will just think this is not worth it anymore.
But then, can you though? Can you? Would your men ever respect you if everyone that's died up to that point, and this one guy has gotten away with it? They're all just they're not gonna trust him or, do what he says.
But you're literally sending your guys out to die.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but that bus scene was absolutely fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Because I like the way that he's not portrayed as like some superhero, that he's immortal and he does get hurt.
That's why I enjoyed this more than, even though I really like the other John Wick films, the sequels. They're still good films and entertaining, but my criticism, like I've already spoke about on this show before, is that they've gone that Fast and the Furious way that they keep escalating to the point of being almost superhero-ish type films. So what I enjoyed about this is that it brought it back to like the first John Wick film, where it's a lot more grounded. It's real. He gets his ass kicked. He's not immortal. He's not the strongest guy. Yeah, he kind of limps away from fights at the end, and I like that. Same with the Die Hard films. Same thing. Started off very grounded, but then he ended up bleeding, fucking jumping off of buildings and surviving and stuff. Yeah, no.
I loved him when he got thrown through the window of the bus, right?
Yeah.
And then he literally gets up and he goes to the bus driver, just one more.
He goes back through the fucking front door.
What about some of the other actors that were in this? Primarily Doc Brown.
Doc Brown, good to see him again. I haven't seen him in a long time. And the RZA. I would not expect to see the RZA in this from Wu-Tang Clan. Woo!
Yeah, it's I had to actually go and look up who that was. I was kind of thinking, surely that is somebody famous.
Shame on you, Mo. Shame on you. You're 90s. What did you do in the 90s? Like, you missed out all of these cultural milestones.
The 90s. The 90s was like Quantum Leap and Star Trek, right?
And that's it. You couldn't fit anything else into your life.
What else,
no music.
What else was there in the 90s? There was Stargate, the movie.
All the films that you missed as well. It's like, wow. Okay. All right. No judgment.
Yeah. It did go a little bit over the top in that final shootout scene with Christopher Lloyd just like wandering around with a shotgun, bang. But I think I still enjoyed it. Right. It didn't take anything away from the movie. But how nuts was that final bit? Like, where they're all out of ammo.
Oh, what? And he puts the fucking the landmine to the back of that, whatever the fuck that thing was.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
if you ain't seen nobody, guys, give it a look. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I do hope they do make more of them, because they insinuated, without giving too much away, they insinuated that it could.
Yeah, there's no reason why they couldn't, right? It's I guess you could recruit him by the government for a one-off job in the next sequel or something.
But no, they insinuated that more people were coming for him because he got the phone call, innit? And he looked real upset. And they said, "Oh, does this place have a basement?"
Does have a basement? Yeah.
So like, more Russians are coming.
That was one thing, because while we get his backstory, I like the way they pepper the film with lots of other things, like when that Russian chick hacks like the Pentagon or whatever it is, and she just comes back out, throws the information at him, and goes, "I quit. I'll do this for free."
Yeah, that was funny. And even just
Great
random
film.
shit they put in there, like the black Russian guy, didn't really ever lead to
Yeah,
anything. He was just
that was
there.
but that was a really nice touch. I thought. I thought, you know, like people
How it-
come in all sorts of shapes and sizes.
Yeah, and how the hell he got out of that car? That's ingenious. I love that. We just kind of went through and he had a fire extinguisher and just, oh, that crash being in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, must be so bad.
Yeah, and when he sits there, starts to tell the guy the story, and he just dies.
That happened twice because the guy on his couch as well died. No one wants to listen. Yeah, I enjoy this. What do you rate it?
I'd say that's a rock solid 4, right? It's very
Yeah.
enjoyable.
Yeah, rock solid 4. How did their relationship get so bad that they had pillows in between them in the bed?
Yeah,
Like,
that was. They never really spoke about that, and that was that's very extreme. At that point, you're probably
Yeah.
sleeping in separate rooms, right?
yeah, that's divorce territory there. If you can't even
Yeah.
bear, not just to be in the same bed, but the fact that you have to separate the bed like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, get out, run.
Yeah. Right, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Was it episode 5? One more to go.
Yeah, one to go. Damn. Happened so quick.
I tell you what, the best part of this episode by far, what I really loved was just the sit down between Falcon and Isaiah, right? There's like no flashbacks, no nothing, just like dialogue of this guy just pouring out his heart, telling him like the story, and it just fit with so well with what's happening in the real world at the same time as like filling in blanks in this story.
That's it. And then trying to tell him that you can't ever be Captain America. They won't accept you, which I don't think he's going to listen to. I think that he will go ahead with it. Definitely now he's got shiny new Wakanda wings, which I'm guessing is in that case.
Yes, yeah. And I wonder if they are. I wonder if they're painted like the Captain America colors.
Have to be. Yeah. So got the shield back now, thank God. But I'm actually starting to like Walker. Not that he's a likable character, but I have to give it to the actor that he's done a good job portraying Patriot, and just that unraveling of his psyche.
Oh yeah. It's not only is it the unraveling of his psyche, but the fact that he can't even hold it together in the courtroom, right? Because he kind of wants to address the court, but yet shows like his instability, like almost straight away.
That's it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't like that it took 2 of them to take him down. Like Bucky gets portrayed too much like a pussy now. That's what I kept saying before.
Well, yeah, there is that because I straight away thought, well, remember that the fight between him and Captain America in like the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, exactly. Winter Soldier is a freaking badass. Not only the fact that he's also a super soldier, so he's equal the power, but he's also got the robotic arm, which should give him a little bit of an edge. And on top of that, he's got 100 years of experience where he's been doing nothing but killing people. And he's like, come on.
Is he more human now, right? Does he think like he doesn't want to give it his all and hurt people?
He doesn't have to kill him, but still, combat experience is still combat experience. A fighter that has 5 years will beat someone who's got 6 months.
I think what you'll find, Eddie, in this is it's just convenient to the plot.
I know.
Yeah, that's all it comes down to.
I did like how they had to break his arm though to get the shield off of him. Just snaps it behind that bar. Oh.
Are we going to talk about Elaine from Seinfeld?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so
I think that alludes to something.
Yeah. So apparently, because of the way things have happened, we were actually supposed to see Black Widow before this. So apparently, her character is in the Black Widow. I should say spoilers, right, kids? It sounds like you hadn't heard that yet.
Nah, I heard there was all this stuff that was being written up. I saw little headlines, but I never got into them.
Yeah, so apparently we were supposed to be introduced to her. So I've obviously, for me, I have no idea who this character is. Obviously, having heard now other podcasts and stuff. So this is supposed to be like Madam Hydra or something, right? So she is like a very shady kind of character.
It definitely looks shady, but I didn't think this was going to be Madam Hydra. Wow, they're going there. Okay. So yeah, he's going to have this engine behind him, which is gonna make him even more of a friggin' nightmare. Do you think is his wife or his fiance is gonna friggin' wake up to know that a man's a friggin' psycho? The chick that's always with him.
They're married, right? Aren't they? Because did she say that one of the best things we ever did, apart from marrying this little firecracker?
He just seemed to be oblivious, even though her man killed a guy in front of the world to see on them steps with a shield. Doesn't matter. I guess you got to stand by your partner, but there comes a point.
Yeah. Now, in this episode, because I think I might be getting this one and the previous one confused, but is this the one where they have the fix the boat episode, or was that the previous week?
I know the scene you're talking about, but I'm starting to think they mixed up as well.
No, it was this week. Yeah. So he calls out all these people. So that's the bit I didn't get. He calls a load of people out to help them, right? But you never actually see the people who have come out doing anything. The whole scene is just him and Bucky, like fixing that whole boat. But I actually really love that because you just see that like this thing where they're like getting away from everything else and just doing the thing that matters to like the important people in their lives. Now, the one thing, so I know you don't listen to Fat Man Beyond, but they actually had the writer on that actually created the Winter Soldier.
Oh, the original.
And he is the only person on this earth that isn't excited to watch his show. He goes, he might watch it next year or whatever. But go and listen to the podcast because it's very interesting because
I get that. Because he's portrayed a little differently. He's a lot more suave, a lot more James Bondish.
No, it's not even that. It's essentially he's created this character. It's been used in films. They've made loads of money from it, and they haven't paid him diddly squat.
That's a Marvel.
He goes at one point because he was complaining. They did offer him like a little compensation, but he goes it was like the equivalent of like 2 weeks' salary. He goes he'd rather refuse it and be bitter than take that insult.
That's a lot. That's nothing.
And he,
unfortunately.
He wasn't bitter at all. Like that, he was still saying like he's had an amazing time working for Marvel. You know, he's had like first like face-to-face contact time with Feige. He goes, it's like been an incredible experience. But it just goes like they've made just so much money.
Problem is, it's true. Like when you're getting into the business and you're eager to please and make your stamp on it, you're willing to just sign and do anything. But at the same time, it's your responsibility to know that you don't own this. This isn't your toys. You created it, but you know that it's not yours.
That's absolutely fine. But like these sort of mega companies need to like give a bonus remuneration, like where credit is due, right? I'm not saying pay this guy $1 billion. I don't think even he's asking for that. But what he was actually saying was when he used to work at Marvel, he goes, he knows that those executives, and I'm not talking about like Disney, I'm talking about the people who work at the comics, actually got off on laughing at people behind their backs in this sort of situation.
Yeah. But that's why people like Rob Liefeld is laughing his ass off, because he created Deadpool, and he had a better deal where he gets a little piece of that. That's why he's always all over the place for people that follow that sort of stuff.
But you don't need to give somebody a massive, like if you imagine they've probably made like, you know, off all the Captain America film, just say like 6 billion or whatever, right? Just give him like a 1%, like $1 million or something, right? That's like nothing.
Are evil people.
Oh, exactly. No,
anything, whether it's in comics, even the music business. This is littered with bands, singers, friggin' rappers, like all getting ripped out of them. Like even Taylor Swift, the biggest artist in the world, she's having to re-record her entire back catalogue because she doesn't own any of it. She can't get it back. So she has to re-record it and make her own version of it.
The example they gave was like Chappelle, right? So you know, like last year there was that whole thing about Chappelle came out to Netflix and says, "You're streaming stuff that I don't get any money for because when I joined in," he goes, Netflix reached out to him and compensated him.
But there's a reason for that because they still get specials from him, which generate millions of views. So they kind of need to keep him happy. But you're right. In the ideal world they would, but bastards.
It's a shame that has taken the sheen off a little bit after like listening to that guy. But like I said, he was not bitter. He was not like wishing anyone ill, whatever. He said it in quite a He said it in a humorous, jokey kind of way. But I'd recommend guys go and listen to it. See how the other side of this whole love for Disney and Marvel and all that kind of really works.
Yeah. So trailers.
Let's go for it, man. So
One thing I'd add before we get into the big ones, we got a new trailer for Love, Sex and Robots season 2.
Oh yes, there was. Yes, I haven't actually watched it.
And also thumbs up that they've already greenlit and it's already happening. So I think they've already got the friggin' animations done. The season 3 for 2022 as well. So
nice.
We love this. We don't have to wait 2 years or whatever it was for the last one.
I guess animated stuff has probably been a high priority over the pandemic, right? Because it's something that you can do remotely. People can record voices from home, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first season of Love, Sex and Robots. Anthology, if you don't know, no, it's not all connected. It's just the individual little stories within those concepts of Love, Sex and Robots, all kind of cyberpunkish type stuff. But they're just fun, just enjoyable to watch. All these little 10-15 minutes. Some of them are just amazing. Like just. How the fuck? We got a new one for Army of the Dead, a new trailer for that.
Yeah,
focus
now this trailer looked good.
A lot more focus on Dave Bautista as in his mundane day-to-day life before he decides to go up against an army of zombies to get how much ever money they can carry out.
Yeah. So it's not just an army of zombies, right? But these are like zombies like we haven't seen before. These are like...
What have I been saying they should be doing in Walking Dead? Smart zombies. And finally someone's listening and they're doing it in this. See? Zombies should evolve. Viruses evolve. So it makes sense that eventually they'll start to think and organize like ants.
Did you get the impression from the trailer that they weren't aware that Las Vegas was quarantined because of zombies? Because they all kind of look like, what the hell is this? When they suddenly realize.
I find it hard for them not to know that a whole city like Las Vegas. Yeah. But I think it's more just the case of the scale of what they were seeing.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It was like because when the camera panned over the wall, they were just jammed in. Like there was like, holy shit, that's just insane. It could be fun.
Yeah, May 21st. So we're literally a month out from this.
Tempering my hopes. Like the first one. The Zack Snyder did was enjoyable. What was that one called?
It was a remake of Dawn of the Dead, was it?
Dawn of the Dead, yeah. That was fun, but it's still a Zack Snyder movie, so you never know. They could be fun, they could be garbage. So, but yeah, what day did you say this was coming?
May 21st. So it's literally a month out.
Not long.
Right, then we've got a little trailer to drop for a film called Flashback.
Interesting, yeah. Bunch of friends, one guy in particular reminiscing on a girl he knew back in high school and then realizing that during some sort of drug trip she disappeared.
Yeah.
And I think we were speaking before this, I reckon it's going to be revealed that he ended up killing her or doing something like that while he was high. That's what he's going to remember finally at the very end of the movie.
It is like you have that conversation where they go like, I haven't spoken to her since high school. You mean you haven't seen from this woman like in 15 years? And they start to like do the same drugs and like relive that night.
Yeah, and retread their steps, and eventually they'll be like, what do you mean? You killed her.
You killed her. Yeah, it kind of looks interesting. It'll be I've just noticed on IMDb, it's actually got an alternative title. It's called The Education of Frederick Fritzl.
Okay, I know why they changed the name now because that's a terrible fucking title. Ugh. And they always make these drugs so unappealing. Like the only movie drug that I think looked cool was what's the one in Dread? Slow-mo. That looked like it could be fun. But this shit just looks like a nightmare fuel. Like, why would you go through that? What's fun about this?
Well, drugs are never fun, really.
That's what we're supposed to say, but it's not actually true, is it? Now, Biggie. I'm curious to know what your thoughts on this were. Marvels, finally. I was wondering when we are going to get this trailer. Yeah. Finally got a trailer for Shang-Chi.
Dropped out of nowhere, right? I mean, the main dude drops the first teaser poster, and goes, the trailer will be coming in a couple of weeks, and then 15 minutes later, they drop the trailer.
I love that they're not doing the thing that they used to do where they release the little teaser for the trailer. So you get the trailer for I hate that. So yeah, boom, straight there.
It's really strange to see Kung Fu now is like in the MCU, and you're kind of thinking,
but it kind of I get what you're saying, MCU,
Yeah.
but we did have the Iron Fist in the
Oh, the Iron
Marvel
Fist.
settings, which you enjoyed.
Yeah.
The first season, which was horrible to me.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
But the second season wasn't so bad. So yeah, they've got the flavors of it there.
Yeah. I know nothing about like this character, right? So essentially, what I'm getting from the trailer is he, as a child, he trained to be like this badass, and then he was like, like how the Amish get Rumspringer. He got 10 years to go and live his life, and he did what the most of us did, right? He got a dead end job. He spent it drunk, chasing women, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything that's worth living.
Yeah.
And now he must come back and fight against. We got the reveal. I think we've what's the actor's name? Is it Tony Leung or Young or something?
Yeah, I think that is the one you're talking about, the Mandarin, right?
Yeah, playing the Mandarin, famous Hong Kong Chinese actor. But we got the real Mandarin this time, not the what was he called? Tony Slattery, where the fuck he was. You know, man. Which is weird because
Sir Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, but it's weird because he's an Iron Man villain first and foremost, so it is weird that we're never going to get him facing against Iron Man. But yeah,
but it makes more sense here, right? I guess
it does, and it is good to have the proper Mandarin because he was a big character, and they've made him less Chinese cliched, so not as racist. He hasn't got the Fu Manchu beard like he always used to have in the books. I got rid of that, thank God.
Now I didn't realize apparently there is a character called Fu Manchu as well. In
yeah. So yeah, they didn't care about that back in the day. You make a comic to appeal to a certain demographic, but to appeal to them, you insult them at the same time. Like they're completely ignorant to that.
Well, I guess back then it probably didn't have the racist connotation that it has now.
I'm sure Chinese people didn't appreciate that shit back then, even then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? As I was watching that and I saw like the reveal of the Mandarin, you were kind of thinking it's such a shame that like they weren't able to get like Jackie Chan into this movie somehow.
Doing what?
Like I know he wouldn't be like doing his like his youthful stuff, but just he is when you think kung fu, he is like the grand master, right? He's the king of kung fu films.
Yes, he's the biggest star of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, I guess.
Yeah. Plus they, they're making. They are making a film that is appealing to Chinese people at this point, right? This is going to do gangbusters in China.
But it's got Tony Leung, his name is, who is a massive star as well.
Yeah,
massive star. So
yeah. Although the guy who actually plays Shang-Chi is Korean, if I understand correctly, right?
Which could be an issue because they don't like each other very much. I don't know why Hollywood does that so much, where they don't see it as a big deal, but to those particular things it is.
But I think we're back to do you get an actor who's the right ethnicity, or do you get the best actor for the job?
Dude, there has to be. There's a billion Chinese people in the world. I'm sure there's a good guy who's charismatic, who has the look, who can act.
Yeah, but you've got to have the Hollywood look as well, right? Isn't it in these sort of films? He's a Hollywood-looking guy.
He's not.
He is, man.
The guy that's in Mortal Kombat, the guy who's the lead, the character they created, he is a lot more of the Hollywood pretty and a martial arts and mixed Asian.
You're not a fan of like Kim's Convenience. If you watch Kim's Convenience, you'll be rooting for this guy.
Just because he's a likable actor doesn't make you're just mixing all sorts of shit up. No, but it looks fun.
Yeah.
Once the action,
Michelle Yeoh's in it as well.
Yes, there's that too. And we've got Aqua Bloody Fina. She's gonna be the issue.
They're doing the speed sort of, not parody almost.
Yeah, there's that, but it's her voice, because she had the same thing with Raya in the Pixar Disney thing. Yeah. Her voice is, you either find it funny or she's just the most annoying human being ever lived, because it's very
Have you watched her in The Farewell yet? Because people keep saying like she does a really good performance in that.
No, it looks good from the trailer, but you can see in that where she's just being a normal person, just subtle.
Yeah,
she isn't streaming like she was in this trailer. Hopefully, we don't get too much of that. Yeah, she doesn't ruin the whole film. But
what did you think the martial arts looks like? Because I'm not really holding out for it to be particularly spectacular.
From what we saw, it looked good. It looked like I was saying in Mortal Kombat, it looked like they shot it in wide, so they show, everyone doing the thing. Yeah, man, it looks impressive so far.
Do you know if they've actually got like Hong Kong or Chinese like actual fight choreographers coming in to like handle this stuff? You would think if they're going balls out, they are doing that, but I've not actually read that or seen that anywhere.
Well, they went authentic with the director, so I presume that they must have had to, man. Can check it out in a minute, but yeah, they must have.
Yeah, but no, I watched that, and I've got to say I'm pretty excited for this. Right, it's come at that whole time where my love for kung fu films has just like been reawoken, from being a child, and I do wonder if this will catapult those sort of films into the mainstream again, and will we get like some copycat, just actual kung fu films?
I don't think we're going to get pure kung fu films. They're always going to have that little twist of being either a Marvel film or Mortal Kombat, but. Yeah, the more the merrier, as long as they're authentic.
So does this guy actually have a superpower, or is he just like a badass fighter? Because I'm assuming at some point he's going to be in an Avengers film.
It looks to me that they've added something in this where because there was a shot where you see him with these rings around his forearms, which I think is their reinterpretation of what the Mandarin's initial finger rings are. So maybe they've changed it into like these wrist rings. So maybe he'll get those. But traditionally, he was just supposed to be peak human, like the Punisher or, Black Widow, just a peak trained, high level, could defeat anybody, sort of pure skill. But to make it more interesting, I presume they're going to add a little something.
Yeah. Does it interest you, like, so the next time we see an Avengers film, right, the cast is going to be drastically different. He's going to be an Avenger, right?
That could be weird. I'd rather them use him in a way like they used Black Panther when he popped up in the Avengers, that he wasn't an Avenger, but whatever the story was, pulled him into that situation where he was kind of like alongside.
But that's how that happened to like a lot of them. Like I mean, we're going to talk about it later when we watched what film were we doing this week? Fucking, I've already forgotten.
Ultron.
Ultron. It's like it's pulled Wanda into it, right?
Yeah. But then she did end up becoming an official.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I like the idea of him just kind of being in the orbit of the Avengers rather than him being an actual member. That would, I don't know. That would kind of, I don't know if that would work.
Well, man, if you want to get that Tony money, you got to become an official member, right? Otherwise, you end up like the Falcon.
Okay, so on to the news.
Onto the news. Well, we should mention, if you guys are wondering, there was a Fast and Furious trailer, but neither Eddie and I watched it. Could be bothered to watch it.
I saw a couple. I did see some stuff on Instagram. Yeah, they shot off from a rocket, so it looks like they're definitely gonna go to space. How the fuck that works? I have no idea. Like, what? Why? In a car with rockets on it.
I'm assuming it's got oxygen tanks and stuff, right?
They've got spacesuits inside the fucking thing. It's like, what the fuck? It's just the dumbest shit ever, man.
Although, having said that, Vin Diesel is our like lead story, right? So Vin Diesel is to star in a movie version of Rock'em Sock'em game. Now, Eddie, do you know what the hell Rock'em Sock'em is?
Yeah, it's the real robots fighting, and then one punches one and the head shoots up. The thing is, we've already had a movie of this, and it was actually good. No, not Transformers. real still. We've
never heard of it.
Yes, you have.
Never heard of it.
With Wolverine.
Never heard of it. Real Steel.
What's the guy's name? Wolverine.
From 2011. Are you saying Hugh Jackman?
Yeah.
I do not recall ever hearing or seeing this movie.
It's like you've been in hibernation like this for like decades, and you only awoke when we started recording this podcast originally. It's like, how did you slip via all these films? It's a good film. It's a fun film.
It's got 7.1. Might have to put it on my to watch list. It looks like it's on Amazon Prime.
It's basically a father-son movie. It's a good family film, but based slightly in the future. And they bond over finding this sort of scrap robot. It's a world where all combat sports are done by robots and machines, but you have to control them to do it. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's actually fun. So yeah, we've had it. We don't need whatever bullshit Vin Diesel's going to come up with. We don't need it. We've had it. Cinderella.
Right. So
it's based on villains on the way.
Not just a standard like this is a Cinderella story, but this one is based on the stepsisters, right?
How many times are we gonna do this? How many times are we gonna see the villain have a miserable childhood, that explains why they're so shitty, and them growing up just to be whatever the fuck, and just to be like, so there, you're not so bad. They're actually nice people. Forgive them. They had it with Maleficent, with Angelina Jolie, evil witch, but then we saw that, she suffered. She was a good person, but she was pushed to the edge to become this evil
Misunderstood.
character. Then we had it with Joker, where he was he was a nice guy to start with. We're gonna get it with the 101 Dimensions with the Cruella, and now this. Like, how many times could they keep doing this formula?
Do you think that they are devaluing their like villains by doing this?
Yeah, villains should be evil just for the sake of being evil. Kids should know that some
Like
people are just
caricatures.
shitty. Yeah.
They're not evil because of their life experiences. They're just born that way.
He was born that way. If you're bad. Yeah. But the thing is, Kristen Wiig and Annie Momolo, apparently there's a film that they've done together, which is, I keep seeing the poster for it. They're like these
Barb
two
and Star go to Vista
yeah.
Del Mar.
I've heard a lot of good things about this film. It looks like garbage.
Really?
But
It does look like garbage.
Yeah, but people keep saying how wonderful it is. So
Are they doing the thing I just did to you with Thunder Force? Like, we've had to watch this,
no.
so you're gonna have to watch it.
Apparently they enjoy it in the way that, because it's the same, or with Wig anyway, that behind Bridesmaids, so it's got that sort of surprise, quality.
Oh, okay. Bridesmaid was actually surprisingly a pretty funny
It's a good
film.
So I think off the strength of that is what's led this to kind of that they work well together, that they've pushed this. So
so you think it'll be some sort of like comedy type thing?
thinking it could be that they go for the comedy twist, because that's what Wig primarily does.
Yeah, that probably would make it a lot more interesting, right?
Yeah.
They're basically trying to fuck Cinderella over.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe that is. Maybe that's a thing. that would be funny as well to show that. Did you ever see that horror movie? The horror movie that's not a horror movie. What's it? Oh,
horror film that's not a horror film.
Dale and something.
Oh, Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Where
that's a great film.
Yeah, where they're like, it shows that the person that people usually scared of in the horror films is actually good guys that were just unlucky. What if they did that with the evil stepsisters? Like, they're going to Cinderella, but they're not trying to be bad. They're just trying to protect her from something.
That would take though, Eddie. That would take some real good writing. I'm not entirely sure we'll get that.
Yeah, that's true. That would be a funny twist to it, though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Dale and Tucker versus whatever.
Versus Evil. Yeah, good film. Very, very funny. Right. So, do you remember a time where everybody, and I mean everybody, walked around with like a Nokia phone?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. So there is now going to be, and this is like a Finnish thing that's being done, but it's going to be in English and Finnish. Somebody is doing a rise and fall of Nokia, essentially, right? So doing a scripted drama. So it's not a documentary; it's a scripted drama of like literally the rise of Nokia and then its eventual fall. Which I was reading that, I think that would be really interesting.
It would be. It would be,
especially seeing all those old phones again, right?
Yeah. They were making too many goofy phones. Remember the one that was shaped like a leaf?
It's not only, they did that, but they also, it's like like how every company who's always on top, they basically just stop innovating.
Yeah.
So you're seeing it with Apple now, right? They're not really innovating on what they've got now. So there were two essential mistakes. So they didn't get on board with Android. They got embedded with Microsoft, and they developed like Windows phones.
Bad. At the time, I guess you might have thought that it was still early, so I guess that's a mistake you can make. But even the hardware just wasn't good at that point compared to.
Oh no, those Windows phones, the hardware was lovely. Yeah, the premium ones, the actual phones themselves, they were using like that polycarbonate material. The phones were nice. The build quality was nice. They had that. Remember, they had that ridiculous like 40 megapixel phone camera type
that one with a
thing
big
as well.
bump in it. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it was like so far beyond like any other phone camera at that point.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking really forward to seeing this.
You know where this is going to be?
So I don't think they've well, it's a finished production, so I'm going to assume it's going to get bought out by like Netflix or Amazon. It'll get bought by one of the streamers.
Yeah, probably.
Although I think HBO has a tendency to buy a lot of like Scandinavian stuff as well, Nordic drama.
Robert De Niro.
I wasn't going to put this on there
car.
But like
as
so
the
many
lead in
other
Big.
places, many other places are talking about this.
Read what
We
you've
thought
read.
we'd have to do it. Robert De Niro. No, sorry. Okay, it's a typo, Eddie. So Robert De Niro. What if I told you? You know how a while ago we did a lot of what ifs.
Yeah.
What if I told you Robert De Niro was originally not just the choice, but he was cast as the lead in Big, and Big that we know today and love with Tom Hanks.
That would have been a very, very different movie.
That would have been a completely different film.
Very.
Can you just imagine it? It wouldn't have been what we watch today, what we know today as Big, right? So this comes from Elizabeth Perkins, who was the female lead in the film. She's just written an autobiography. She goes that Robert De Niro was actually cast in the role of Josh in the movie. It all fell apart because he had a scheduling conflict, and that they went to Tom Hanks. It's like a totally different movie in my brain. She actually auditioned with De Niro for the role of the film. He was more moody. It was more of a horror movie.
Oh, Jesus.
Like Robert De Niro wandering around like the streets of New York. What Tom Hanks brought to it was so much lighter. So it just goes to show you that like how different something can be depending on just from a casting choice.
I can't even imagine it because Tom
can't.
was all the playful with the toys and jumping around and the way he was when he met the woman, which is
Can you imagine De Niro being like that?
By today's standards, I don't think that would have gone that well. De Niro would have been completely different, man. It would have been all serious and brooding. I don't think he was good at comedy back then because he was purely about the art. Yeah. This was what, early 80s? Or not?
This was like mid 80s, wasn't it? I think like Big was like what, 85, 86, 87?
So this was he was still pretty young-ish, 30s, I think. So around the time
he would have been coming off things like
Taxi Driver was 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah, 77, 78, I want to say.
Yeah, so 10 years after that. So still pretty what 80s movies does he have? I just want to get a picture in my head of what De Niro was like.
Just looking him up. Let's have a look. See here. So in the 80s, Jesus, got so many films. So in the 80s, he was in Once Upon a Time in America.
Okay.
Brazil. I've never watched Brazil, so apparently he was in there. The Mission, Angel Heart, The Untouchables.
Angel Heart, yeah.
Midnight Run, which is actually a great film.
Yeah.
So that had a comedic element to it. Where No Angels.
So in his 30s, late 30s, something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some other stuff I have heard, now I can't verify this, but there were things like apparently he wasn't too keen on the role because there were 2 other like body swapping films coming out. So he was kind of thinking it's going to be one of those sort of like fads because there's like vice versa, like father, like son, that, at that point that they were all coming out around the same kind of time.
Wow. But this is a different thing though. It's not really the same thing. You're not swapping with anybody in particular.
Not swapping bodies, but you are still getting that whole body swapping type thing.
Yeah. But this turned out to be the one that stood head and shoulders above all of them.
Wow. Can you kind of think, do you think De Niro looks back and think, bloody hell? But I mean, he was already such a huge star.
It's true. And it wouldn't have been the same film. Wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't have touched me the same way. Sounds bad, but yeah, definitely.
No, I can't imagine De Niro. There's that scene where they're in the shopping mall and he's jumping. He's playing that like song on the chopstick. Yeah, chopsticks on that like massive. I can't imagine him doing that. He'd be like, no fucking way.
Get the body doubling. So
you talking to me?
You only see his feet.
Are you talking to me?
Oh, come on, Mo. You can be better than that. Yeah.
Right. So superhero news.
Michael Keaton confirmed to play Batman.
Didn't we? Well, I don't think we talked about it, but wasn't it like a couple of weeks ago? It kind of looked like this wasn't happening. There were like rumors coming out saying it's either fallen apart or it was never in the pipeline.
I think some people trying to dispute it, but trying to cover their tracks. But I think it was.
So Michael Keaton is returning as the Batman in The Flash, and I can tell you now, folks, I saw a tweet yesterday to say that production had officially begun on a film that I think has been in development for almost as long as we have been doing this podcast.
Yeah, man.
Can you imagine that?
Finally. we're gonna actually get a Flash movie. Oh, and they even released the little the title card for the Flash.
Okay.
What you'll say at the beginning, the Flash, which is a bit early to do that for a film that's probably ain't gonna come out for what, another 2022.
I think is it 23 that it's coming out?
Oh, even longer. Jesus. It might be
Hold on,
dead
let's
by
have
then.
a quick.
This new
What?
Indian variant of COVID might have got us, man. We don't know.
Oh no, 22 apparently, according to. It's coming out. Oh, expected November 4th, 2022.
November. So yeah, that's gonna get pushed to 2023. That's it. Yeah, finally. How are they gonna work that into the story, and is it gonna are their take on it, is it gonna be so much more revolutionary than whatever Spider-Man does? And I'm curious that if they have similar script plans to however Spider-Man does the time thing, will they change things in the Flash? Because that happens.
It is very interesting that you mentioned that now, because we were just talking about the body swapping films where like how trends in Hollywood, they all seem to like hit at the same time, whether that's like intentional or unintentional or whatever. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This is all hitting at the same ish. Well, I guess is Spider-Man coming out this year? Yeah, it is coming out this December. Yeah. But they are very much multiverse, very much time travel. Well, the time travel, obviously the Flash is looking at possibly Flashpoint stuff.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
I guess we should mention a little bit of news that came out like yesterday about Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2. I can't remember the actor's name, but he spilled the fact that he confirmed he's in the movie and that they are de-aging him to look like his character from like that film that he was in like 20 odd years ago.
What is wrong with these people, man? God. Wow.
Do you think that lays some credence to the rumors about Maguire and Garfield?
Oh, they're definitely going to be in it. If he's in it, they're definitely in it. I don't think it's a rumor. I think we've seen body doubles. They're body doubles that they use specifically for them have been seen on set.
Now, normally I don't talk about rumors that don't come from like Variety or Deadline, but I saw one last week that was so tantalizing. I so wanted it to be real, but apparently they are lining up Sam Raimi to do a Spider-Man 4, but not Spider-Man 4, but Spider-Man 4.
Yes, I heard this. I heard that what I heard was there were people at Sony that were interested in the idea of continuing that particular Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
Which is no, that's a mess. That would be a friggin' mess.
Yeah, but it's insane. It's nuts, but I so want it. I so want to suddenly see like Tobey Maguire like as a 30-something-year-old. Like, wouldn't he be? Because
he's in his 40s now, and I don't know how good he looks now. I think the age is catching up.
Okay, set it up in the 40s. Who cares? But every time we see Spider-Man, he's always like this high school kid.
The worst.
Maguire, he's the best.
He's the worst.
He was
Peter
the
Parker.
best of all of the Spider-Man.
Holland is
Come
the best.
on, Eddie.
Holland is the truest.
Listen, you're just going with like who's. If we'd had this conversation 5 years ago, you'd be saying Garfield is the best.
He's
Garfield
the truest
is the best
representation of what the comic book Peter Parker is.
You just like what is fresh and new.
Unlike you, I actually read Spider-Man. He actually means something to me.
Listen, I'm talking about the films. Like whether I've read Spider-Man or not doesn't give me any inclination on like which actor is a better actor.
You're unqualified to have an opinion, sir.
Listen, mate, let me go and get my comic book collection, and I'll show you all the special Spider-Man issues I have.
Special Spider-Man.
Yeah, with like the special covers and like the all the special editions that they would do. And all that
you're one of those superficial guys. Part of the reason why the comic book industry is the shambles that it is now, that only bought the special flashy colors, the Sparrow.
No, Eddie. I used to spend like all my paper round money on comics back in the day.
How long has Garfield got left? Because isn't he coming up to the end of his?
I think he's in Holland.
Holland. Didn't say Holland? Yeah.
You said Garfield.
Isn't this one his last
this
of his contract?
It is, but he's also said he would basically sign another contract in a heartbeat.
But you would have thought he would have by now if they really want him.
Well, I'm sure he's they're probably talking numbers and stuff, right?
The issue is if this is true and they are pushing to do the one with what's his face, number 4, could that mean that they're not doing another Holland one? That maybe
they could do multiples.
I don't think they will. I think that would
Because
be
they could
too.
do.
I
They
don't think
do
they would do
one where
this.
they have Spider-Man in the MCU, and then they have their own one.
I don't think they would do that. I think they actually want to do. Maybe they view because it was Holland that pushed to make sure that this Spider-Man stayed in the MCU when there was that moment a few years
Yeah.
ago when it was gonna be separate when the deal was
I
done.
guess it all depends on like money, right? And is Sony seeing a big enough return on their Spider-Man franchise? Do they think if we go it alone, we'll make more money?
Sony like, yeah, you had the contract. We don't have to listen to him now. Can't push us around. We don't have to work with. We don't
Yeah.
like work
Remember,
with Marvel and sharing
those
our revenue.
those first 3 films, even Spider-Man 3, they were all financially successful.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they do know how to do a Spider-Man film.
all of the Spider-Man films have been
Yeah.
successful, even the
Yeah.
shitty ones.
There's
Even
only
the
2 other
Garfield
ones.
Yeah, even those ones have been
Yeah.
got their money back. Oh man, yeah, that'd be cool. Anyway,
Yeah. Right.
on to our MCU revisited, and this
The
week, Mo,
Age of Ultron.
yeah,
I'm actually kind of surprised that.
usually on this. What year was this?
Huh?
Usually on top of this.
Oh, what was so it's 2015, The Age of Ultron, directed by everyone's favorite,
Joss Whedon.
I guess he at that point he was still the darling of the directing world, right?
But this didn't really have a good reception, which you could kind of understand in the sense that the time restraints on getting this was made was a lot more intense. There's a lot more interference from studio
Yep.
to tell a particular story. So yeah, you can tell they kind of came out a bit muddy.
And if I recall correctly as well, Whedon himself was really unhappy with this. Like, this is why he
Yeah.
walked away from like Marvel films, because he was like, you don't have total control. You are dictated to that. You must include things that are setting up other films
Yep.
in your film.
Yep. But you gotta do it, because if
Yeah.
you don't, you won't have the mastery. You'd end up with DC, which is just a clusterfuck. I'd rather have MCU, baby.
So I watched this twice at the cinema. I remember enjoying it. I've got to say, I did not enjoy it as much watching it this time round, especially when you've come right off of The Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, so colorful and joyous and fun. This one, very dark and like not even dark in a Zack Snyder way. It's just dark in just a dour, almost miserable way.
Yeah.
Like
And I was
London summer sort of way.
And the plot itself is, especially the stuff around Ultron's actually quite not confusing, but it's never really laid out very well. As in, like they've got this data from Hydra, or whoever those guys were, and the next thing you kind of know, he's literally come to life himself and become like this just runaway AI type thing.
Yeah, but I thought it'd be a good idea to merge him with Jarvis and then just walk away and just leave it to do its thing.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Why would you do that?
I think the whole film was supposed to just show like Tony's reckless, right? And they could have done it they could have done it loads of different ways. I just felt that this film was very, after how well the original Avengers worked, this one just seemed very disjointed.
Yeah, it just didn't flow as well. I don't think everyone played off of each other as well. It still had its moments.
Yeah. The stuff like the opening was very good. The whole party scene was very good.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
And I don't mind how Ultron introduces himself, like when he walks in, kind of doing the whole Pinocchio, my strings are being cut and blah blah blah. That was all kind of cool and creepy. And this is the first time we get to see Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda. She was good.
Yes.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, though, poor guy, really got the shit end of the stick because he got to do nothing in this, and he's never got to come back to fix it in any way. He's just one and done. Just
he's one sacrifice he gets to make at the end. That's what he'll be remembered for.
Faster than the speeding bullet, and it's a bullet that kills him at the end.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
So sick.
What actually was pretty interesting though, having now just watched WandaVision, where they are now talking about the fact that the kids were trapped in that apartment for like days. Yeah, you've now come from a place where you've actually seen that visualized.
Yeah, Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Good callback.
It's there is some really good stuff in this. The whole Sokovia. I mean, they've got so much mileage out of this whole Sokovia thing, right? They're still referring to it in like the Falcon.
Reports.
Yeah. The whole fight inside, is it the clock tower or whatever that thing was? The whole when they all assemble together, how the camera spans around like one of them.
And you got to say though, they're not wrong with the Accords, because Tony, he's bloody irresponsible, man. He fucks everything up. It's always his bloody fault half the time. It's just so bad.
All the time. Yeah.
What do you think of Spader?
It's one of those sort of things like if I hadn't looked him up, I would have totally forgotten that was James Spader's voice.
He's got such a distinctive voice.
Because I always remember him from Stargate.
It's always bloody Stargate or Star Trek for you. That's the only reference.
Well, that's what James Spader was in.
If no actors appear in any of those three franchises, you haven't got.
Well, no. Okay, hold on. So I also know him from Boston Legal, right? So
okay, there you
go.
Yeah,
he was good in that. But like, he will always be the first Daniel Jackson in Stargate, because that's where I first saw him.
The movie, yeah.
The movie, yes.
I actually forgot. He had nice long flowing hair in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boston Legal, does it hold up? I've always been curious about going back to watch that.
I do want to go back and watch it, because I think I stopped watching it at season 3, but not because it wasn't good. I can't just for whatever reason. I'd love to go back, because it's also got William Shatner in it, just going, Denny Crane.
And
Denny
there you
Crane.
go, Mo.
Denny
You did
Crane.
exactly what I did before. You just stopped watching
but
the
you
show
do that with
you like.
tons of shows.
No, I don't. Only rubbish ones. Yeah, man. What else even freaking throw into this? We got. Was this the first time we get to see what's his face's family?
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, see that he has a wife and kid that he's been keeping secret. This humanizes him, which I guess was actually the one good thing. Some people didn't like this, but I actually thought that he needed this as a character.
It certainly made him more likable, right? And you kind of think, if you've got all of that, why do you go and do the things that you do, especially considering you don't have superpowers?
That's true.
And then when you are at home, all you're doing is like refurbishing your home all the time.
Isn't that what everybody does? That's kind of how you get away from the screaming kids. You go and fix the fence.
No. How much did you buy or not buy the romance between Banner and Romanoff?
No. Why I just felt the need to interject this soap opera bullshit in here. Didn't work. And I think that's why it never reoccurred. Even though they did have little flashes of it in other things, only really that whole the way that she gets him to calm down. The sun setting, big boy. The hands thing, but besides that,
it would have worked. Yeah, I think Captain America and Romanoff would work better, right? Because they had that. They had quite a bit of chemistry in the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that would have been. It would have made a little more sense. A little more.
Yeah.
But maybe something more with Maria Hill, Colby Smulders. She doesn't ever really get used to her full potential.
She does not. She's always like, she's not even a supporting character actress, whatever. She's like really like background kind of character. Yeah. I would really like to see her come back for the TV series. Was it Secret Wars or whatever with It's because she's pleasant to look at. She does a decent job of like doing what she does.
She's a good actress. I wouldn't even be mad if they put her in the position of the Agent Carter in the young Agent Carter that's in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know, where she's on the outs, where she has to run. If they did that with a Maria Hill character instead, I wouldn't have been mad. Giving her a bit more to do.
Yeah, it's a really strange film. It's kind of like I guess the flaws weren't apparent. I know when this first came out, the reception wasn't particularly great, but looking at the IMDb score now, it's like 7.3.
I think. What's the old analogy? The high tide rises all boats or whatever. Like, I think because of the whole MCU is just a well-loved thing, it helps the shitty films still get decent ratings. And also, it's also good to point out, this is when we first get to see Andy Serkis as the Claw. We get to see him actually lose the arm as well. This might have been one of the things that Whedon hated. One of these characters that he had to kind of squeeze in because it set up a character for an upcoming film.
I was just going to say, how did you feel about how strong? Because this is the thing that I kept coming back to, how strong Ultron actually was. So I know he's like a robot and everything, right? But he suddenly seems to have made like this. Well, I guess he's like a very, very clever AI, right? He's made like this robot that is so fucking powerful that not Iron Man, the Hulk, whatever, are finding it difficult to fight against.
Yeah, that was the whole thing of having Chlorine there, because he wanted vibranium in it to be his ultimate form, his casing that can't be broken or defeated. So yeah, it makes sense because that's what AI does. That's the dangers. That's why people are, Elon Musk say that it should never. We got to fight against this. That's why he wants to do that brain chip to keep up with against what AI is. Because once AI becomes conscious, then it can upgrade itself and keep doing it. And that's exactly what Ultron was doing. He just kept upgrading himself each generation till he became his ultimate form. Yeah, scary. So on paper, this could have been so much more of an interesting, sprawling story, but too much to squeeze in, I reckon. And even
I think that it's always difficult to make an ensemble film, right? We've got all of these characters.
That's it. And even just the end of it, of lifting up an entire city and then just dropping it, and just it's just weird. But yeah. So I'm not as fun as remember it being, but big surprise. So Mo, you remember what we're gonna do next week?
So we've got next week, I guess it's Ant-Man, right?
Oh, lighthearted. That'd be nice. A nice palate cleanser to end this phase off, phase 2. That's it from this week. So from me or Mo, do you want to let them know?
Folks, if you want to email us, we are at tatmpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to tweet at us, we are Talking Movies 3. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, we are Talking at the Movies.
So from me, Idris.
And from me, Mo.
See you guys next week. Later.